Okay. It's funny to be in this seat. Thank you for being here. It's really cool to meet you. This is my first time. And I'm a manifester. I totally live my dream. And I also hold myself back from my bigger dream.
Stop it.
I want to stop it. So what happens when I'm in that moment? How do I get that bigger vision?
Well, the most important thing for you to remember is you can't hold yourself back from the dream indefinitely. All you can do is delay it. And every time you're delaying it, it doesn't feel good. So in any moment that you don't feel good, don't fight against your proximity to your dream. Just try to find a thought that feels better. In other words, anytime you're doing that thing that's keeping you from closing the gap, you're feeling some version of negative emotion, which is always your indication that you're pointing in opposition to who you really are and what you really want. So talk to us. Let's talk some specifics, and we will help you to find those downstream statements. You'll feel it happen within you, and then you'll know what to do anytime.
Okay.
So what's the dream?
So my dream is larger than what I'm living. You want to know exactly what it is?
Well, only if you want to say, but we want you to understand that your dream is always larger than what is, because you are always an expanding being.
Okay.
And when someone says, I have a really big dream, what they're saying to us is, I have a really big gap between where I am and my dream.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we want to talk about how to close the gap. You don't close the gap by trying to diminish the dream.
Right.
You close the gap by amplifying your sense of willingness or worthiness or capability of getting to where you want to be. In other words, you have to diffuse the resistance, which always feels like negative emotion.
Okay.
So it will be helpful to you if you want to talk about it, or you can make something up and we can play more limply.
No, it's okay. I'll tell you. So I'm an artist as well, and I'm a jeweler, and I make good money. I manifest sales constantly. And I want to manifest bigger sales. I want to work in bigger stones. I want more gold. I want more
all right,
materials to
now you
work
see,
with.
we want you to understand that you didn't just come to this. In all of this wonderful evolution that your art has been, every moment that you are creating and designing and planning, you have been contributing to that vibrational escrow. And you're right, it is magnificent. And now, as you have a contradictory thought, it makes you feel uncomfortable, and that's what's making you call this a big dream. And we want you to understand that it is not more difficult to create a castle than a button.
Okay.
It's not more difficult to create multi-million-dollar pieces of jewelry and art than it is something that the tourists are wanting to buy down on the beach. It is not any different. And so when you say, I have a really big dream, we say, we agree with you. You have a really big dream. Now give us some vocabulary and let's see if your day-to-day thoughts are upstream or downstream.
Okay. So I think that it can happen. Like Oprah's my neighbor, and I want her to come into my studio and buy all my jewelry or my sculptures. And it hasn't happened. She hasn't walked in the studio, but she's been everywhere else around my neighborhood.
Well, she can't come into a place where she can't come. In other words, when you say someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing,
right.
Someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing, someone's missing, you create a vortex that doesn't let them in even if they want to go in. She's getting up in the morning and she's saying, oh yeah, I keep meaning to go into that shop and I keep missing it. I keep forgetting about it. I can't
right.
find my way in it. Here's the most important thing that we're wanting to say, and it's something that we really want this room full of deliberate creators to hear. You're trying too hard.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, when you said, I'm a manifester, I am a manifester.
Right.
And we say, we want you to be an allower of manifestation. Feel the difference between I'm seeking a healing, which is, I'm seeking a healing. Doesn't that feel upstream?
Yeah.
Or I'm allowing wellness. I'm going to find a way to make it happen. Isn't that upstream? It's already happened. It's just a matter of time. Isn't that downstream?
Yeah.
So offer some more statements. One at a time, not a story,
okay.
Just a few statements about your shop, about your work.
I have really unusual sculptures in my garden that I want to sell.
All right, now, was that Upstream? I have really unusual sculptures in my garden that I want to sell. It's Upstream, isn't it? In other words,
it is?
Yeah, well, just feel for just a minute.
Oh, you mean because I want to let go of them?
Just stay with us a little bit, and this will begin to dawn on you gradually. I have really beautiful sculptures in my garden.
Yeah.
That are for sale. Or people love spending time in my garden looking at my beautiful things.
Well, doesn't that keep my sculptures in my garden so people could come to spend time there?
Well, but feel the difference. Now, we're not saying that some words are right and some words are wrong. We're just wanting to demonstrate to you the difference in the way it feels. So far, that statement wasn't enough to move you in any way. So then you reach again for something more. I love it when people come into the garden. And I love how when they spend time, they begin to feel the rhythm of it. And I love watching someone in the garden, and I can almost watch it happen, where they just sort of come in, browsing around. They might not even really have this much money that they want to spend, but when they're there, they begin to catch the feeling and the spirit of it, and I can see them wanting to take a piece of that back to where they are once they spend a little bit of time, and I love watching that flip. I love watching that, and I know that a lot of people are coming just for the ambience of the garden, and I love that too. But every now and again, somebody comes in that's right on the brink. Now, here's the thing that we want you to understand. When you start loving people in your garden, what happens is you create this environment where people are just drawn into the garden. When you say, I have something to sell, if they don't have money to spend, then that's almost an aversion to them. That's a place where they don't want to go. You're too needy, and it does not resonate with what they're feeling in the moment. But when you are in love with your garden, when you're in love with your things, when you're in love with the people, whether they buy or whether they don't, when you're just in love with the experience, now you're creating this ambiance of invitation where people just feel good when they're there, and now your doors are open and people are flowing. Jerry and Esther have seen it. They've charted it for years. They can walk into an empty store, and within 5 minutes of them being in the store is full of people. And it's because when they get there, they open this vortex of appreciation. They feel such energy and appreciation for the people there. They begin playing with the people in the store. They begin devouring both of them. Esther can scope out a store faster than anybody that you have ever met. She knows exactly what she's looking for. She knows whether it's there or not. And most of the things that they see, they don't buy because they live in a bus and they have a suitcase that they're carrying and they've got to drag it back to the ship. They're just there for the experience of the place, but they are a magnet for others. They've seen it again and again. You can be that same magnet for your own shop, you see. So, can you feel the difference?
Yeah.
I have this wonderful art that you are welcome to see. You're welcome to take it home if you want it, but please make yourself comfortable. Come to my delightful space. My stream is flowing and abundance is mine. Creativity flows and dollars flow and well-being flows. And this is the haven that I've created for all of that. And you can participate in it in whatever level that you want to, you see. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
That's allowing. So you see, the work is not the difficult thing you have been thinking that it is. It isn't about figuring it out all at once, and it isn't about solving the problems of the world or even about solving your own problems. It's about recognizing that the solutions are already there. It's about recognizing that the answers to your questions are already there. It's about recognizing that your fortunes have already amassed and your lovers are already queued up for you. It's about recognizing that vibration has preceded you, because when you ask, it is given. And now your work is to allow what has been given in. You cannot get it wrong. You've heard us say that a few times here. And something that we've been feeling from you, it's really an interesting thing. So many of you come to this paradise in the quest to relax and lay back, and then you become the most intense people on the planet. You are so determined to find your freedom that you fight for it in ways you don't need to fight for it. In every bit of fight or struggle or quest, you're pointed upstream. In every bit of relaxing and allowing and breathing and trusting, you are downstream. When you hope, you're more downstream than when you doubt. When you appreciate, you are more downstream than when you criticize. When you laugh, you are always more downstream than when you cry. When you look into your past, you are usually more upstream than downstream. When you look into your future, you are usually more downstream than upstream. When you look into your now, where all of your power is, you have the choice. But the choice isn't a great thought as opposed to a bad feeling thought. The choice is only a slightly better or a slightly worse feeling thought. And that's what you want to tune yourself to. You want to tune yourself to, is this an improved thought or not? Esther is driving down the highway in the monster bus with the car in tow, wailing at speeds we cannot tell you. We really can't tell you. The speedometer doesn't go that far sometimes. And Jerry is in the back, clinging to life, doing some project, working on something. And Esther will think of something that she wants to tell him. But he can't hear her. She was honking the horn, but it was scaring drivers off into the bushes. So she found a button that she can push, that when she pushes it, it turns all the lights on. And when she pushes it again, it turns all the lights off. So he sees the lights go on and off, and he realizes Esther has something to say. So he puts away whatever he's doing and makes his way all the way to the front of the bus and says, yes, you have something you want to say? And Esther sometimes says, oh, never mind. It was an upstream thought. And we say, isn't it nice that he was all the way in the back of the bus? Because if he'd been sitting right there next to her, she just would have blurted it out. And then he would have either agreed, which would have made it more upstream, or disagreed, which would have made it more upstream for Esther. In other words, when you've got an upstream thought and you start talking about it, it always becomes more upstream. But the fact that it took him a while to get there gave her an opportunity to realize that it was upstream and to begin making another decision. And that's what we wish for you. We wish for you to realize that you have an option of feeling a little worse or feeling a little better. And that's all that the art of allowing is. And as you make the decision to feel better as much as you can, before you know it, all that stuff that's been lined up outside your door, all that stuff that's floating free in the river, all that stuff that the universe has orchestrated on your behalf begins to flow into your experience. You rendezvous with the answers to your questions. You rendezvous with the solutions to your problems. You rendezvous with your lovers and your fortunes and your wonderful times of life. You rendezvous with what you deserve and have deserved all along. And we take such delight in watching the rendezvous. But do you know? We're taking delight already in what you've amassed. And if you have to croak before you catch up, that's fine with us. But this gathering is about showing you how to catch up now, if it is your desire. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. There is great love here for you.